The UK's Channel 4 aired its controversial documentary on the Easter Sunday attacks, Sri Lanka's Easter bombings dispatches today. The documentary also featured several allegations levelled against the Rajapaksa family. It included allegations mounted by several entities, including Hanzir Azad Moulana, the former spokesperson of Pillayan-led Tamil Makkal Viduthalai Pulikkal, and Chief Inspector of the CID Nishantha Silva Kandappa, who fled the island.
The controversial Sri Lanka's Easter bombings dispatches documentary was aired by the UK's Channel 4 at 3:30 a.m. this morning. While featuring content related to the Easter Sunday attacks, it also featured varying allegations levelled against the Rajapaksa family. The documentary featured several sources, including Hanzir Azad Moulana, who was the former spokesperson of Sivanesathurai Chandrakathan, alias Pillayan, of the Tamil Makkal Viduthalai Pulikkal, Chief Inspector of the CID Nishantha Silva Kandappa, who left the island while the court case of Swiss embassy staffer Ghania barrister Francis was heard, and the journalist involved in the controversial white flag incident, Frederica Jans. Lal Vikramatunga, the brother of murdered journalist Lasantha Vikramatunga, former Commissioner of the Human Rights Commission of Sri Lanka, Ambika Satgurunathan, former diplomat Sarath Kongahage, and Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjith were also featured in this documentary. The former spokesperson of Pillayan-led Tamil Makkal Viduthalai Pulikkal, Azad Moulana, the key source of the documentary, alleged that a meeting took place between incumbent Director of State Intelligence Service Major General Suresh Saleh and Islamic State-affiliated bombers to hatch a plot to destabilize Sri Lanka.
I knew the truth, who's culprit, who's men organized, who is order. They plan years, 2-3 years, they plan and select a team, and very big plan. In the January of the 2018, Pillayan told me, you organize a meeting between Suresh Saleh and these people. After that, I give the information to that group to come to place. That's why I knew everything. I go to the place, big coconut farm. They come a white way. 6 people get down from the vehicle. Shiny Molavi came and shake the hand and hug me and say salam. After that, introducing his brother, Shahra. The meeting gone long time. So meeting finished and Suresh Saleh told me, Rajapaksa need an unsafe situation in Sri Lanka. That's only the way to Kotabai become president. So this is the meeting between them, with the terrorist group and Suresh Saleh.
The documentary also included a statement from His Eminence Cardinal Ranjith on an alleged plot to manipulate and assign political power.
You have many such involvements of the top leadership in Sri Lanka were in a grand plot in order to gain power.
Further, Chief Inspector of the CID, Nishantha Silva Kandappa, who fled Sri Lanka when the court case of Swiss embassy staffer Ghania barrister Francis was heard, made his first appearance to the media since then via this documentary.
Why are you not in Sri Lanka?
I got the death threat to me and my family from the Army intelligence, Navy intelligence, and the former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa.
The documentary, which also levelled allegations against the Rajapaksa family, featured statements of journalist Frederica Jans and Lal Vikramatunga, the brother of murdered journalist Lasantha Vikramatunga.
I myself believe that Lasantha was infallible, that he wouldn't go like that. He was bigger than life.
Meanwhile, as previously reported, Ben Dipher of Basement Films, which is the production company of the documentary on behalf of Channel 4, forwarded a letter to Major General Suresh Saleh on the 7th of August, outlining several allegations they plan to include about him, comprising the meeting that is said to have taken place in 2018 in a farm in Puttalam. In a response letter dated 9th of August, Major General Saleh categorically denied these allegations, stating he had no involvement whatsoever in the event mentioned in the letter forwarded by Basement Films. He stated that during the period in which the alleged meeting is said to have occurred, he was serving as a minister counsellor at the Sri Lankan diplomatic mission in Malaysia, which can be readily verified with the Malaysian authorities. Denying his presence in Sri Lanka when the Easter Sunday attacks took place, Saleh stated that he was in India from January 2019 to late November 2019 on a training program at the National Defence College, which can be readily verified with the Indian authorities. Further, he vowed to take legal action if the documentary airs any material connected to the Easter Sunday attacks, intentionally or unintentionally aimed at tarnishing his reputation without substantial evidence. Meanwhile, in a letter to Basement Films dated the 11th of August, General Saleh's attorney ordered the company to cease and desist from issuing any malicious and defamatory statements, causing damage to his client and threatening his life and safety.
Meanwhile, State Minister of Rural Road Development Sivanesathurai Chandrakathan, alias Pillayan, highlighted the need for an international investigation for the content of the Easter Sunday attack documentary aired by UK's Channel 4. In Parliament today, Pillayan said he suspects that Moulana is trying to protect political and international forces connected to the Easter Sunday attack.
நேற்று சேனல் 4 தொலைக்காட்சி சேனல் 4 வெளியிட்ட செய்தியிலிருந்து சொல்ல வேண்டியிருக்கிறது.
I must speak the truth pertaining to the controversial Channel 4 video. Azad Moulana, who was formerly with me, is now making false statements in order to begin a new life in another country. Responsibility of the Easter Sunday attack was claimed by ISIS. They revealed their motives behind the attack. This was underlined in the official ISIS website. However, Moulana is attempting to change the narrative for his benefit. Political and international forces are connected to the attack, which I suspect Moulana is trying to protect. During the period in question, I was under remand custody. Can a prisoner plan such an attack? Can a suicide bomber be created within that a short period of time? I have knowledge about this because I have that past experience. It is impossible to do such a thing in a short period of time. Concurrent to what the opposition leaders said, an international investigation is essential to probe the content of this video. I request such an investigation on Azad.
சர்வதேசத்திடம் சொல்லி அவரையும் விசாரித்து இதிலே அவரை உள்வாங்கிக் கொள்ள வேண்டும் என்பது என்னுடைய கருத்தாக அமைகிறது.
Later, State Minister of Rural Road Development Sivanesathurai Chandrakathan lodged a complaint at the CID against Azad Moulana.
Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjith, rejected the government's plan presented by Minister of Labour and Foreign Employment Manusha Nanayakkara in Parliament yesterday to appoint a parliamentary select committee to probe the expose aired on Channel 4. The Cardinal disparaged it as a waste of public funds and time, adding that such committee appointments would not lead to tangible results, instead calling for a transparent and broad investigation conducted by an independent international investigation team to probe the Channel 4 revelations. He further called on the government to suspend the duties of the high-ranking officials mentioned in the documentary in order to protect the transparency and independence of the international investigation.
We note the notice given by the Minister Honorable Manusha Nanayakkara that a parliamentary select committee will be appointed to look into matters revealed by this program on the Easter attack. We wish to note here that in spite of the fact that from the day of these attacks, even though a parliamentary select committee and a presidential commission of inquiry as well as other committees were appointed to investigate these sad events and many recommendations were made by them, there have been no credible and positive action by the political authorities over these recommendations. In fact, the Parliamentary Select Committee was appointed during the time of the Prime Ministership of the present President, His Excellency Ranil Wickramasinghe. The present and the previous government paid only lip service to such findings. Truly, we have to note with sadness that no tangible and credible results might emerge from yet another such parliamentary select committee if it is only a matter of producing a report. In that light, appointing such a select committee will only lead to a waste of public funds and time and be an exercise of simply misleading the public. For this reason, we do not endorse such a strategy and reject that plan outright. What according to us needs to happen urgently is, number one, the holding of a free, impartial, just, transparent and broad-based investigation into what the Channel 4 television network revealed in its program, the alleged plot behind that tragedy, and all facts and a study of the persons mentioned in that program, especially with regard to their role in this mass murder. And also investigation should be carried out on the findings outlined in the various commission reports already presented and recommendations stated there need to be implemented fully. Number two, this investigation should take place through an independent international investigation team. Number three, that international team should be assisted by all those Sri Lankan officials of the CID whose services were originally sought by the government and who were transferred away from the investigations to other areas and posts by biased political authorities. Number four, since these fresh investigations need to be be independent. All those officials who in the police and the intelligence services coming under investigation on this matter and who hold high positions presently should be suspended forthwith. And any such officials named in the Channel 4 program should move out of their present high positions in order to ensure the independence of the inquiry. Similarly, Mr. Nilantha Jayawardena, DIG of the police, presently holding the position of DIG administration and who had been found guilty by the Supreme Courts for culpable neglect of duties during the time of the East attacks and fined, and Mr. Deshabandhu Tennakon, DIG, whose neglect of duty during the same attacks had been cited by the Presidential Commission of Inquiry for disciplinary action, should both be suspended from service until the new inquiry is over. We sincerely hope that all those requests will be faithfully carried out by the Honourable President and the Government of Sri Lanka. Unless such a transparent and sincere investigation is launched, we do not feel that truth and justice will be meted out to the innocent victims of the 2019 East attack. We urge the President and the Government to launch such an investigation urgently so that their credibility with regard to justice for the victims will be safeguarded. We do not believe in mere promises, but we need action, an action that is absolutely independent, transparent and internationally monitored. We wish to urge all former and present-day officials in the police and intelligence as well as security services who are aware of other facts that may be relevant to the case to come out courageously in order to give witness to facts known to them relevant to the case.
I'm joined by Professor Rohan Gunaratne, National Security Specialist, to discuss the credibility of the Channel 4 expose and details of the Easter Sunday attacks. He is the author of a new book on Sri Lanka's Easter Sunday massacre, Lessons for the International Community. A very warm welcome to you, Professor Gunaratne. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Indivari.
I think I'd first like to ask you what the government of Sri Lanka should do in order to respond to the Channel 4 documentary. Is it necessary for the government to respond, or are there investigations needed?
Government should respond to the Channel 4 documentary because Channel 4 has the power to shape narratives and perceptions, whether we like it or not, whether the information in that documentary is credible or not. It has the capacity to shape public thinking. I propose three things. One is that government should ask New Scotland Yard to come to Sri Lanka and to give their expert opinion on the Easter Sunday attack. They can certainly interview anyone they want. They can review all the evidence, the material that has been subjected to investigation. Second is the government of Sri Lanka.
I think you are facing a technical difficulty here. Professor, can you hear us?
Documentary. One is Azad Moulana and the other is a police officer. Both are seeking asylum, two asylum seekers. And the third is Sri Lanka should immediately formulate a legal and policy framework to protect its population from online falsehoods and manipulations, meaning from fake news. We need an anti-fake news framework so that this generation and the next generation will not believe in fabricated information. This is a global problem. It's not only in the case of Sri Lanka. So these are the three responses of the state in response to Channel 4 documentary.
How credible is Azad Moulana's allegations leveled on this Channel 4 documentary?
Azad Moulana makes two principal allegations. One is that General Suresh Saleh came to Sri Lanka in February of 2018 and met with Zaharan and Zaharan's brother Zaini in Vanathavillu, where Zaharan had his training camp. And I want to share with you categorically that the Malaysian immigration will clearly say that General Saleh was in Malaysia at that time. working in the Sri Lankan High Commission. Azad Moulana also says that General Saleh was involved in a particular suicide bomber called Jamil, who was designated to bomb the Taj Hotel.
Right.
And General Suresh Saleh, during the East attack, was also in India. During that time, he was following a one-year course at the National Defense College. So Azad Moulana has no credibility when it comes to dates, times, places. That is why I believe New Scotland Yard should also interview him and also investigate him.
And one final question, Professor. What measures and regulations should government take in order to protect the people from online falsehoods? You spoke about this, but other manipulations and also the spread of extremist ideologies in our part of the world?
Sri Lanka should revise its legal and policy framework when it comes to counterterrorism. We need an effective counterterrorism bill right now. Second is the PTA is good. It has withstood its test of time, but we need rehabilitation included. We need cyber included. Second is we also need Intelligence Act. And third is we need a National Security Act. And finally, if I must reiterate, we need an online safety bill. That is, we can't allow this fake information to affect this generation and the next generation. So I believe that we need these 4 legal frameworks and the capabilities to protect Sri Lanka from being affected in the immediate, mid and long term.
Right. Professor, you mentioned how difficult it is for the country with such an expose being circulated on global international media platforms. But is this really an attack on the country when it comes to the UNHRC sessions around the corner, or is there some credibility in terms of the accusations continuously being leveled against the country in terms of truth and reconciliation and accountability for human rights?
Sri Lanka should rise to this challenge and should address them very intelligently. One is we need to double the strength of our foreign service, meaning our diplomats, recruit the best and the brightest to serve in that. Another is we need a very strong information capability. We don't have that one. We need to dominate the information space, meaning we need strategic communications capabilities. We need our military, law enforcement, intelligence and other agencies to be modernized. We are still thinking in terms of the physical terrain, the physical fight we had in 2009. National security has evolved new challenges. So modernization is very important so that we won't face these kind of issues.
Right. Thank you very much, Professor Rohan Gunaratne, national security expert and the author of the new book, Sri Lanka's Easter Sunday Massacre, Lessons for the International Community. Thank you for joining us.